Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to NGA's Aeronautical Dissemination Team's monthly webinar series. My name is Alex, and I'm excited to have everyone here with us today. So please be sure to pass the invite along for the webinar series. The more people we get involved in this, the better feedback we receive as well for the app. So today's webinar is going to debut our new Android and iOS versions that we recently released. Just as a reminder, the webinar is being recorded and will be stored on our aeroapp.info website and our YouTube page for later reference. So we will start with some quick introductions. Like I said, my name is Alex. I'm the Deputy Mission Manager here for the Aeronautical Dissemination Team. I work with Bruce Farnham, who's our Mission Manager for Dissemination. He's actually traveling today, so he will not be with us, but I will hand it over to Hilton Software's team that helps us with the webinar and our application.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Hilton Goldstein. I'm the founder and CEO of Hilton Software. And Nicole is going to be doing the presenting today. But obviously, if you have any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm a QA engineer at Hilton Software, and I'll be going over the demo later.
All right, thanks, Hilton and Nicole. So we will run through our normal rules of engagement for the webinar today. Just as a reminder, with most virtual events, please remember to mute your microphones during the demonstration unless you're asking a question or would like some more information or feedback on what we're demonstrating. We do welcome questions throughout, so please feel free to speak up or enter your questions in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat, and we can address any questions that come up. If we're unable to answer your questions during the webinar, we're happy to reach out directly. Our contact info will be provided at the end, so just feel free to send us an email as well. This is a quick rundown of some of the new features and topics for the demonstration today. So I will hand it over to Hilton and Nicole and let them start with our demonstration.
All right, well, again, my name is Nicole. I'm a QA engineer at Hilton Software, and I'm going to go over some of these topics, not necessarily in this order, but we'll start off with some enhancements to existing features, like the distance rings, IP on map, and MTRs. And then we'll move on to a few of the new features, which are flight plans, Digitalglobe, and adding KML to the route. So let me share my screen real quick. Right, so starting off with distance rings. In previous versions, you're able to distance rings on the moving map that are centered around your own ship. And you have 4 rings located at distances 5, 10, 15, and 20 nautical miles. So in 2201 version, you can actually edit these rings now. You can decide how many rings you want displayed and the distance between each ring. So to enable distance rings, you would go to the options button at the bottom of the moving map, and you'll see I already have them enabled. So, but once you enable the option here, distance rings, you'll see 2 options appear: outer ring distance, which refers to the ring of the outermost or the last ring, and the distance, which is the distance between each ring. So let's say I want to set my distance to 37, and I'll leave my the distance in between to 5. You see it displayed on the moving map in real time. My last ring is set to 37, and each distance ring, except for the last one, of course, is 5 nautical miles. Right, so the next one is IP transparency. This one, I have an IP displayed on the map already at KMCO, as you can see. So we've enhanced this feature where you can change the transparency of the chart, and you can do so by tapping on the IKO, and then under show, you'll see IP on map here. I have it highlighted. This brings you to the list of IPs that we have available, and you can either select one or change the transparency of it. We've also made the chart tappable so that instead of going through all those steps, you can just tap on it and then change its transparency and also change the chart that you want. All right, so for MTRs, as you may know, we have the overlay where you can display it on the movie map. I already have it displayed. But now you can also add MTRs to your route. You can either add a full MTR or a partial one. To add the route, you have to enter the points you want in a particular format. It has to be the first point of the MTR that you want, followed by a period, then the MTR name, followed by another period, and the last point of the MTR. So start point, period, name, period, last point. For example, I'm going to take and the MTR VR 202, and I want my first point to be C, followed by the name 202, and the last point F. So all the way over here, but you can see that it's added on the movie map and it follows the overlay. You can kind of see it under it. All right, so now we're going to move on to the new features. We'll start off with adding KML to the route. So if you have a route in a KML file, Aero App is now able to load it to the route panel and display it as your current route. I have a few KML files that I got from FlightAware that you can see here in my load route pop-up, the 3 at the bottom. So you can just load it on to the device. It'll show up here and you can just tap it and it'll be added to your route. And there it is. You can also display these. You can display multiple in show routes. So from the route menu, you'd go to show and then routes, and you can enable them to enable all of them. And you can display multiple ones on the movie map. Right, the next feature is Digitalglobe. So we have Digitalglobe Online, which you can just download, but what happens if you don't have internet? So we added Digitalglobe Offline. So this is your Digitalglobe. Let me just remove these. So you have Digitalglobe Online, but if you don't have internet, we've added a new feature called Digitalglobe Offline. Here, you can cache sections of Digitalglobe to view them when you don't have internet. So to download, you would go to the Maps pop-up at the bottom of the movie map. Select Download under Digitalglobe Offline. And you can either enter your location or you can tap the little 3-dot icon. You can brings up the search pop-up and just select the airport that you want. You can select the radius and resolution. I'll just leave it as radius 5 and resolution set to low, and it begins to download. You can see if you tap, that was a fast one. If you tap on the maps, you'll see it download here, and once it's finished, you can just enable it. Zoom in, and there it is. Keep in mind, if you set your radius higher and the resolution higher, it might take a little bit more to download. So, but you'll see it with a progress bar here.
And then one thing just to jump in and point out is, as Nicole was selecting the radius and the resolution, it was also giving approximate sizes just so that you could see if it was going to be a huge file or a smaller file. Those sizes that Aero App shows are just very approximate, but that's usually close enough to know if it's going to take a long time or not a long time. So just be aware of that. It's really a great tool just to know ahead of time. If you're trying to select like super high res with a very big radius, obviously that's going to take a long time. And so just definitely take a look at how much space and what the bandwidth requirements are. And if it's too high, then maybe you want to change it to medium or lower resolution or smaller radius.
All right, so our last feature, probably one of our biggest features that we've added for 2201 is filing a flight plan. So you're now allowed to file a flight plan within Aero App. The option to file one is in the route menu. So you open the route panel, route menu, and then under the actions, first section, the action section, the last option is file flight plan. So you'd select that. That brings you to the pop-up where you see the flight plans listed that you've previously filed. So to file a new one, you would select the new button at the upper right-hand corner, and this brings you to the new flight plan form. The form mimics the form you're familiar with to make it easier to fill out. And it's divided into aircraft, route, supplementary information, thingies, and additional information. The required fields have an asterisk, and fields that might need more than one option, like surveillance equipment, you can just tap on the little 3-dot icon and select the ones that you want, and it'll be added on to the form. So once all fields required fields are filled in, the send button at the bottom will enable, and you'll be taken back to this page where the flight plan will be listed as filed, similar to the first two I have listed on this list. Once filed, you can tap on it and to view all the information. And here you can also tap the little hamburger button on the right-hand side, and you can activate, close, and cancel your flight plan. We've also added the new and delete options. New allows you to duplicate a file or a filed flight plan, and delete just removes it from Aero App. Keep in mind, it doesn't do anything. It's only on Aero App where it deletes it. Okay, the other two sections at the bottom are aircraft and credentials. Aircraft allows you to save your aircrafts, and to make it easier for you, you can just add a new aircraft, and then when you start a new flight plan form, under the tail field, you can tap the little 3-dot icon and select your aircraft from there. It just makes it easier for you to fill out, because once you select one, it pre-fills in all the information for that aircraft. And the last tab is your credentials, and this is where you put in your pilot info, which is also displayed at the bottom of the new flight plan form where it says pilot info. And it just, again, pre-fills it for you. And that is all of the features for today. If anyone has any questions. Do you have anything to add?
No, that was great. Thanks, Nicole.
All right, Alex, back to you.
All right, thanks. I was just going to mention that for all of our current users that are on, you may notice that there are some new classification banners at the top of the page. This is just a new addition to the application to help everybody protect the data. It's just a reminder that NGA's data could be up to FOUO LIMDIS. It doesn't necessarily mean that the data is, but just as a reminder, if you do have questions about that, just give us a call or an email and we can give you some more insight as to what the actual classification of that data is. Of course, you can change the classification if users decide to classify their tablets or add classified information. That will give you this pop-up that Nicole is showing about changing the tablet from unclass FOUO LIMDIS to secret. Hilton or Nicole, do you guys have anything to add on that?
We were on mute. I was going to say, I'm sorry. No, you explained it well. Thanks, Alex.
Sure. All right, so we can open it up to questions for the demonstration. Does anybody have a question that they want to ask Hilton or Nicole or myself? We're also happy to answer any questions that may not be related to the demonstration today, things in general about Aero App or the Aero Data Server or Aero User Database, anything that you may have questions about, we're happy to answer. All right, no questions heard. So today, I guess, is going to be a short day for us. So as always, if you have any questions or run into a problem with the app or any of our other products like the Aero Data Server or Aero User Database, you can visit the support tab on aeroapp.info, and a representative from Hilton Software will receive your requests and work with you directly to resolve the problem. If you have questions about an Aero product through NGA, of course, go ahead and submit that through the Aero Help Desk, and that will get sent to the correct mission manager to answer your question. So if there aren't any questions for today or any webinar topics that anyone would like to see presented in the future, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But thank you all for attending the webinar today. We look forward to seeing you all in June for the Aero Dissemination User Summit. We will not have a webinar in June, but hopefully we'll see you all there virtually for the summit. And then our next webinar will be in July, and hopefully we will have everybody joining us there as well. For more information on our features and updates, please be sure to visit our website, aeroapp.info, or contact the dissemination team directly at aerodistro@nga.mil. We will see you soon. Thanks for joining.